Welcome back, Guardians. Let's get right into it. This weekend, Xur is located on the rig on Titan. Once you spawn in, just grab your Sparrow and head a little bit to the left of spawn, and there you'll find him. He's currently selling the Graviton Lance exotic pulse rifle, the Affidia Spaith Hunter chest piece, the Mark 44 stand-aside Titan boots, and the Skull of Dire Ahamkara Warlock helmet. Let's do a brief rundown of all these items. First, the Graviton Lance exotic pulse rifle is an energy pulse rifle which fires only 2 shots per burst. The interesting thing about this is that the second bullet in the burst does significantly more damage than the first bullet in the burst. This makes Graviton Lance act a little bit more like a scout rifle than a pulse rifle. Its exotic perk spawns a bunch of scatter projectiles that damage other enemies in the vicinity. I'd recommend picking this up for ad clear in PvE, although it's still not quite as useful as Sunshot or Trinity Ghoul. In PvP it can be useful because it's very easy to handle, but it has a very slow time to kill of 1 whole second, so I'd recommend giving it a shot, but it's still definitely not a top tier weapon. Next up is the Affidia Spaith Hunter chest piece. This one's pretty simple, it just grants you an extra melee charge. This isn't necessarily a top tier exotic on its own, but there are certainly some nasty builds that can be made with it. Astacross recently made one that I thought was pretty interesting, so I'll put a link to that video in the description. In PvE, I can't imagine that this has very much utility, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it over other exotics. Third is the Mark 44 stand-aside Titan boots. These grant you an overshield when you're using any of your shoulder charge abilities at full health. They also return some of your melee energy on shoulder charge hits. This one is really just a PvP exotic, but it's especially useful for those who like to ape their opponents really hard. Once again, not a top tier exotic, but it can be a lot of fun to use. Finally, we got the Skull of Dire Ahamkara Warlock helmet, which grants you super energy on Nova Bomb kills. From what I can tell, this never grants you more than half of your Nova Bomb energy, which, don't get me wrong, is very significant, but it's also tough to get the number of kills necessary to generate this much energy in PvP. In PvE, this could work, but there are much better options out there. Well, Guardians, I hope you found this video informative. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you in the Crucible.